Hello everybody. I am sorry, I was planning to get these all done. I mean, most of the gradients done by the time I would start the live. Unfortunately, I thought I still had conditioned alizarin crimson, but I was wrong. I'm kind of like backwards then what happens when I go shopping. I don't know if you know the thing when you go out shopping, it's not that valid now. Hi Jessica, hi Beth. It's not that valid now that a lot of people do online grocery shopping, but I don't know how many times it happened to you, but to me it kind of happens all the time, because I'm like, I go out grocery shopping and let's say I get to the onions. I'm like, I think I'm out of onions. And I get onions. And I get home and I open my fridge with the veggie drawer and it's full of onions. So, hi Judy, hi Carol. So it's kind of backwards from that. The good thing is that with all this shortage of polymer clay, generally speaking, whenever I order clay, I make sure to order at least 2 packages of alizarin crimson. So it's not something I'm gonna be out of anytime soon. But talking of that, give me just a minute, because I did announce on Facebook, and I did put a post on the channel here on YouTube to say that PolyClay has some clay in stock, and she's going to get more. And the last time we emailed back and forth, she told me, give me just a second, let me get to it. So you'll see that she's got some souffle, and she's getting quite a bit of let's just go on the display so I can show you. So she's got, let's go to the Premo and Sculpey and then go to Premo and Accents. You'll see some of them are out, but she's got beige, she's got black. Now she's got black, which is a good thing. She only had white. She's got yellow, ecru, fluorescent yellow. At least she's got pretty much the primary colors that you can make other colors out of. Sunshine, so cadmium yellow, cadmium blue, ultramarine blue are the primary colors for Premo. So once you get that, you don't have a problem. You see, it's got wasabi, wisteria. So she's got quite a bit of stuff, and including silver. I know that she's got some pearls. She's got white pearl. She's got silver, graphite pearl. And by the way, when you don't find silver, you can make silver using graphite pearl and white pearl, peacock pearl and white pearl. So you see, she's got quite a bit of things, but because we are talking about that, give me a minute. If you go on my Pinterest, talking about colors and stuff, right? I have all kinds of recipes, I have all kinds of boards, and I have one board with color mixes. And then I have separate boards, only that it's impossible to arrange them practically. But I have separate boards for reds, for greens, for metallics, for purple, for blue, for yellow. So if you're looking to make any kind of color mixes, you just go there and you can find the recipe for it. Okay, hi Becky, hi Sonia, hi Sharon, Renate, Evelyn, Kazimir, I guess. Bună dimineața. Hi Hazel. So let me keep going on with my, I'm not going to condition all of it, only what I need to do. What I want essentially to show you is how to do a very, relatively easy gradient ombre, a hard cane. Okay, I need to get on the machine. This is good. Remember that I say all the time, and you probably didn't hear just me saying that, but whenever you make a cane, number one, try avoiding mixing. The idea here is that you have to have all your clay of the same consistency. So if you have one clay that's softer than the other, either soften up the hard clay or leach out the clay that's too soft. For the same reason, avoid mixing different brands of clay in one cane because of the different consistency. If you have hi Elaine, hi Donna, hi Renee. If you have to mix because you don't have any other color, try to add a little bit of translucent to, like Premo translucent, something that would make them be more similar. Okay, that is very, very important. And I'm going to make really fast the gradient, just because I don't want to keep you for too long. And let me actually do something that allows me to show you both the machine and there we go. So that I don't have to keep moving back and forth, keep clicking to hide and to show the various cameras. Okay, my red is just a tad harder than the other ones. Everything else is nice and very soft, but the red is not. As I said, I thought that I had everything ready to do so I could start the gradient ahead of time, but no, my alizarin crimson was not. Hi Mihaela. Almost done. start creating, and I'm going to make two actually to show you two different ways of doing stuff. So number one, I'm going to get myself some white, red, yellow, and not show this yet, and the alizarin crimson. You know very well that this is one of my most favorite combinations, or in a gradient, are the yellow and the alizarin crimson. It just gives beautiful, beautiful, beautiful effects. Hi Nana. We are from all over the place, huh? All over the world. Not Australia, I see. No. Okay, so I don't really want white in this specific, and yeah, I do have a little bit of contamination, but that's fine. I told you, you don't have to sweat it too much. Okay, and I'm going to pretty much cut myself a similar piece. And as I said before, and I've been saying it so many times, hi Ellen, this one you can only find it at Hobby Lobby. That's the only place you can find it. You cannot find it online. As I've been telling you many times, do not sweat too much on this kind of stuff. Very rarely you need to have perfectly measured clay when you do a gradient, and that is usually when you try to make a realistic gradient to make a flower, and it has to look in a specific way. Oh, just a couple little drops. But generally speaking, do not sweat too much. And people who have been watching my lives a lot know that I am very unconventional when it comes to creating gradients. Most of the time when I measure, I use this and I just make diamonds. Okay, from this one I actually need half, but I'm still going to approximately half, not full half. So let's do this. Okay, now watch this. So these are approximately the same sizes, right? I'm not measuring. They are all on the same thickness, right? So I'm going to do this and this. And I'm going to flip this. So the bottom one, I'm flipping it. So it's going to go like this. Now I'm flipping the top one. And yes, I have more white here because I want a gradient that's going to kind of cover up the white completely. I won't have white, but I will have a very bright yellow. And remember, because I have all kinds of strong colors here, I have to put a lot of light here because it's going to kind of push it in. So, because I want to not mess up too much and I don't want them separating, I am going to actually do this. Because if they are not very well put together at the seams, they might start separating. Then my next thing is I'm going to put it in the pasta machine like this, not at all the way that you're used to do a gradient, but I'm trying to hasten it, okay, to make it faster. to fan fold. This is a little bit too much. I'm just adding it up here. Just make sure that you keep your lines, because the top and the bottom will have the tendency to go like this. Sure, you know what? Let me get this here, because it's more out of the way. There we go. And whenever you work with red or alizarin crimson, you have to make sure that you clean your stuff. Otherwise, you saw how it left the smudge, and if you put it here, it's going to contaminate more than you want. So, rolling, rolling, rolling. This just makes the gradient go faster. And see how it has the tendency to go outwards? Just push it back in, otherwise your color will go, the color that's inside will go a little bit too much towards the other one that's on the edge. Okay, now I'm going to just keep passing it through the machine. Okay, and we are at the point where there's a almost done, but I still have all kinds of, hi Martina, and I don't need those, so I'm going to fan fold it one more time. And by the way, the fan folding and rolling makes you get rid of these raggedy edges that sometimes appear when your clay is not super soft. And again, make sure that you keep your lines relatively straight and pop any air bubble that you might get. Alright, then once through the machine. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but whenever I go through the machine, I make sure that I keep the same, the light side and the dark side in the same direction, because that way when I work with like a red, it kind of stains the rollers. So if you keep flipping it back and forth, it's going to stain the lighter color. Okay, once through the machine, I can see where I have little air bubbles. Hi Zenta, hi cat mommy. Yeah, I know I have some thick ones too, but those ones I only use when I have to use the end of it to press for stamps and the like. One thing I can tell you that I was able to, I'm almost completely done with cleaning the house. I still have to finish the laundry room and finish getting my kitchen table in order, because during all the events of the last 2 months of 2020, it was pretty much used as a catch-all thing. But as I said, I managed to get almost all the house back to order. So now I can give more attention to finishing the tutorials and finishing stuff and updating the websites and all that and the Amazon store. Why it took so long was because I had to vacuum like 4 or 5 times. I even forgot. But in the end, the only way that I could completely clean it was to get on hands and knees with a wet brush. Because if you're not up to date with the events in my life, yeah, no more confetti. My fluffy white cat had to have surgery in December after being in and out of vet hospitals all November and December. And after the surgery, he couldn't use regular litter and he had to use paper confetti litter, and that happened to all the litter boxes in my house. And remember, I have 2 other cats, so of which one is also fluffy, and with the paper having a lot of electrostaticity, every time the 2 fluffies were going to the litter box, when they would jump, they would just trail confetti all over the house. So yeah, I still find some here and there, but easily pickable by hand. Okay, now I'm going to just go through the machine. are good. Now I'm going to cut it so I can put it in length. Let me grab the wrong one. So I always try to have about an inch to an inch and a quarter, because I want my strip to be even. And always go with the roller over, because if these strips aren't well stuck to each other, when you go with them through the pasta machine, they're going to separate in a Y. Okay, so I'm going first to go a little bit thicker setting, but then I will end up with a thinner setting. Yeah, that is so neat. I watch YouTube too on my I got a Fire TV in 2019 when they were on Prime sale. I'm very happy with it. Okay, should be good now. Normally for a pre-recorded tutorial I would cut and stack, but I don't want to waste your time too much. Yes, it's awesome to get stuff from Tiny Pandora. I love it too. Okay, and as I've been saying, I've been threatening you to do some giveaways. I will hop online sometime this coming week, and whoever is going to be, I'm going to announce it a day ahead. And I will ask you some questions on some 4 gemstones tutorials, not to recognize them or anything. I'm going to show you some gemstones, and you'll have to tell me which of them you'd like to see better. And then I will simply draw whoever's online at that time and participates in the chat, and it's going to be for like 10 minutes. I'm going to put little notes, remember, like I did before, and I'm going to draw for 2 $100 gift certificates for PolyClay Play. Okay, now what I need to do is to get this a little bit flatter, like this. So this part will be flatter and this part will be longer. So I'm going to very gently reduce it that way, because I actually need to separate it in 2 at one point. because it's going to be a double cane if you want. And you will need a teardrop cutter for this. It's the easiest way to, and for any hard cane, it's the easiest way to do a hard cane if you use a teardrop cutter. Alrighty. Cut the edges. So we'll start with nice clean cut edges. And then cut it in half. Am I good or am I good? 2 inches. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one like this and one like this, okay? So let's see which of the cutter fits the best. Definitely not the large ones. This is too big. This one looks good enough. Now, wish me luck, because you know that my hands don't work that good, okay? So, the way that you place it, you want this side to actually be a little bit outside of the cane. I'm trying to show you. See, it's a little bit outside of the cane. You want only this part to be there. So very careful on the edge, because you might have the tendency to keep the edge still in here. The tip, not the edge, the tip of the heart of the teardrop. Make sure that it's outside as well. And then press down. I hope it works. I told you, my hands are not what they used to be. And it went in. Damn it. Well, that's okay, because I can simply cut this part. And then we're gonna take this out. Sometimes I hate my hands, you know. It works better if you have more clay. That's my fault. Because remember, I have the tendency to not work with a lot of clay at a time, and especially nowadays where it's hard to get clay. Let's see if I use this. I forgot to put armor roll on the cutter, and that's my main mistake. And this doesn't work too good. And the other thing is that make sure that your clay is wet, cold when you do this. I'm going to reconstitute it, that's no worry, but your best bet is to put the clay in the fridge for like 20 minutes or in the freezer for like 10. Anyway, this is pretty much how it should look. Okay, let me get some this cleaned and get some armor roll on it. This is one of my cutters that I didn't sharpen. I sometimes sharpen the edges of the cutters a little bit. You have to be very careful when you work with them afterwards. But it's much better when you try to do deeper cuts like this. Okay, let's go again. Oh, it's not supposed to flatten as much as it did, but we're gonna get there. I'm not going straight and the clay is very soft. Oh well. It's not the end of the world. It never is. Yeah, so definitely if you do this, do it in bigger, because if you use a larger cutter, it's going to be much better, much easier than a tiny one. Get out. There we go. Okay, make sure that you get these little rags taken care of. And your heart shouldn't look like this. I mean, your teardrops shouldn't look like this, but you can, as I said, you can fix them. That's not that big of a deal. Okay, so all that you have to do now is to, because we have this and we have this, all you have to do is to get them backwards. So get one here, make sure that this part doesn't come in too much, it has to come in just a little bit and be at the same distance. And same for this one. Again, make sure that you don't have any struggles. The same thing, bring it in a little bit over the top of the tear. And here I need to cut a little bit of the alizarin crimson. There we go. And now once you did this, you again reduce. Don't make it square. No, the best is to make more than what I did and use something like this and make sure that your clay is not as tall as the cutter. I should have used, because I have some veggie cutters and I have a teardrop in that one. I should have used that one, because the taller it is, the easier it is to handle. But again, I don't have a lot of strength in my hands, so that kind of sucks. So after that, you simply reduce. Again, let's get rid of the deformed ends. It in half. And we have one gradient heart And now you can reduce it square because it's going to squarify itself. Let me get the other one reduced. Yes, they are both there. It's the Premo. You can find the makings that's cheaper, but it only has 3. I always advise that Premo has, let me get there. Premo has Premo has a series of cutters that would be the basic cutters, and I always advise people to get them. You don't need the machine anymore. There are the irregular cutters. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the graduated, these ones. It's $8.25 for one, and they are also in the influencer store, but these are the things that you absolutely need, as well as the square. I don't know, the square is cheaper, I guess, why it's separate from the other ones. And these ones are the irregulars, but because otherwise you can get them, you can get the makings, but the makings only have 3, and you kind of have to, they are much cheaper, only $1.95, and you kind of have to look for them. See, there's a heart already. You can use a heart cutter, of course. See, an oval, and use put just 1/2 of it on the cutting thing. Maybe that's what I should have done. I guess Trish doesn't have all of them. Square, she doesn't have the tear, but she's got a heart, so you can use that. Okay, now let's do the other one as well. You know what, the other one, I think I'm going to just make it a pre-recorded tutorial because it would take too much time for me to do another gradient. And you know that I usually cannot be on the chair for longer than an hour because my back starts screaming at me. So I'll work on the other one to show you. It's kind of like also with the gradient heart, but instead of the reversed gradient wrapping, it's got some other gradienty ribbony things wrapped around, and it's not hard to make, and you can use the same gradient. Top edges, because I want to show you another thing with the what to do with the leftovers. So I don't want to start that and then not be able to finish the second cane. Let me whip out the square pairs. because I want to show you the neatest thing of this, what you can do with this. And yes, I do have 2 sets. This tiny Pandora sent me an extra when I ordered her new ones. Okay, so because this is not all, of course you can use it like this if you want, just as is, because it's quite pretty. You can see it's quite pretty just as is, but you can do another, you can do more of a micro cane with it, and it looks absolutely fabulous, especially when you do, let's say, a thinner bracelet, something like that. Square canes are the best reduced with the square pairs. Always, always, always. Because you get all the clay at the same time pushed in. It's much harder to do that with just using a roller or just using your hands. This moves the clay entirely, all the way inside. Make sure that they are both the same size. This one looks a little bit larger. So try to measure on the same color side, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit harder. Okay, now to make sure that they are both the same size. Hey, of course I dropped something. Let me get a thinner blade. And then I'm going to cut them in half. So I have pretty much, let me get, this one is not perfectly straight. Now, you can of course place them like this if you want, so that you'll have a one up, one down, you know, but the way that I like it the best, and I actually have a cane with 4 quilting patches with little hearts. You just go pretty much clockwise or counterclockwise. And it makes an absolutely fabulous no, it was the other way, sorry. It's this one, like this, and this one like this. No, because you don't want one to be, there we go. You don't want, how can I say it, you don't want a full thing to go against a full thing. You want pretty much to have one full side against a half, and make sure that you have them nicely together on the other side as well. And it might not make a lot of sense why I keep saying that this is how you want to put them together, but once you start actually covering something with them, you will notice it creates one of those I don't know what's the name in English. It's in French it's trompe-l'œil. It tricks the eye. That you're like, what the heck is that? And you'll get a lot. It's a really good conversation starter. So, and of course, as I said, you can do it in a micro cane and make it even smaller, and it looks much better when it's smaller, honestly. There we go. And of course you can use it just as is, but you get all kinds of nice, let me see, if you go like this, you don't want to go like this, you want to go pretty much like this. Just make sure that you keep the no full side against full side. When you place them, make sure that it goes always full side against gradient, and it just looks gorgeous. Okay, now what can you do with this? You can create a ever-changing cane very easily. Okay, let me grab this and let me cut the end of this so that I have more clay here. And because of the colors, it's going to look good no matter what. So I'm going to pretty much get them together. And you want it to be nicely against each other. Make sure that you don't have any air bubbles. It's not very excuse me, it's not very known here. Hi Norma Jean. Okay, I'm going to go to, let's see, almost 6 inches. Then once I'm done, pinch, 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 pinch to create a triangle, pretty much. Or not really, you don't really need to flatten the bottom, just have a pinch here. It's an ever-changing kaleidoscope. It's very easy to do, and it's awesome. Especially, I don't like to waste when I get colors like this. I don't like to waste them. And it makes beautiful beads. and then put them together by threes. Always when you do a kaleidoscope, first get it together by threes and then put together the two halves. And you can even do more of a combination. And I will show you another combination. So if you imagine that you have the colors all set, but every slice that you will cut off is going to be a different model. Another thing that you can do is, I'm going to, let's say that I have still the ones that I had before. Another thing that you can do is flatten it first, so that you get a lot of lines, because this next one will be based on lines, and it's also again a kaleidoscope type thing. I'm trying to get a, and then roll. Once again, make it in a triangle. If you want, it's easier to reduce. Hi Colleen, you just got here at the end. I love your cutting boards, by the way. They're really pretty. Almost there. There we go. No, this needs a little bit longer. I don't want the edges. And it makes great little mosaic style tiles. You can do it in a 4 radial if you want, not necessarily in a 6 radial. Oops, I keep dropping stuff. My back is getting impatient. I think I got a big nose at my door. There's somebody whose mother died in a house in the neighborhood, and they are coming to remodel it. I don't know if they want to sell it, if they want to move in, but anyway, they brought a cat, and they don't come every day, so I don't know how well that cat is fed, but he started roaming the neighborhood and comes at people's doors to beg for food. And he's an ugly little guy. He's got a big nose. He's one of those gray tabbies. I mean, ash like gray tabbies. There you go. You get a mosaic type thing that you can use in other things. But there it is, an ombre gradient art cane. That's very neat and easy to use. Okay, thank you so much, and I will be working on the other one to put it up for you, because as I said, I'm pretty much done with the cleaning. I can take breaks from the cleaning now and work on other things, because my house is not a super mess anymore. I'm telling you, I had to do deep cleaning, because you can imagine what 3 cats in the house, of which 2 are long-haired. If I don't keep up with vacuuming and with dusting and stuff, it can get a mess real quick. So, okay, I shall see you next Sunday, and we'll do some more heart thingies. Hi, Evelyn. Have a wonderful what's left of Sunday. Thank you. Goodbye. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you just found my channel, because I'm getting back on track. Hopefully nothing else happens. Okay, bye.